This is becoming a professional bass player. My name's Deborah and this is the video journal of my career transition. Let's just turn the speakers off. Oh. I'm using the PA system a little bit more now that I've got in the office because it's easier than using my amp, and a couple of people have pointed out to me that I've probably got the octaver button switched on the amp. This is where my lack of technology catches up with me, so I'm going to have a look at that later because it was also pointed out at jazz school that the amp was sounding funny, so I've got to need to sort that out. But yes, I actually really miss jazz school. One of the things I was going to talk to you about today. Very rarely do I come here to my video diary feeling frustrated because I'm on a path that I want to be on. But sometimes at the moment, you know, we're approaching the show and it's a residency at the railway, and that enables us to really work on lots of different elements like the room and the environment and the cocktails, and really deliver a full sensory experience for our guests. And I thoroughly want to do that. And at the same time, that can be quite frustrating for me sometimes because it takes me even further away from playing the bass. And actually, having spent all of last week, 4 days last week at jazz school, it just felt so right. So, you know, you start every morning in the bass classroom, you know, with the delightful Terry Gregory, who just exudes light, standing at the front of the classroom, and you know you're about to do, you know, 3 hours of talking about the bass and notes and playing. You know, you sit there wearing your bass and playing all of the songs, working things out, and then you're going to have lunch, and then you're going to spend 4 hours playing the bass. And I hadn't sort of realised, but by the end of doing that for a week, my body just felt so harmonious. And that was a lovely feeling. And I realised how much I'd missed spending that amount of time with my bass. But I've reflected on it, and actually, sometimes that's just how it is. You know, there's not anybody else that can drive this project. There's lots of people working very hard on it, but there's not anybody else that can drive it. And we're coming up to our first show, and the jobs like the backing tracks, which I'm finding really hard to get done, they just need to be done. No one else can do them for me, so I just need to suck it up and wait until the show is over, and then promise myself some more time with my bass guitar. I was Georgina Field, one of our saxophone players, or our primary saxophone player actually, she helps me a bit with Eckhart Tolle, and she reminds me of what he says about this, which is that you need to accept each moment as if you'd chosen it that way. Don't fight it. And let's be honest, I have chosen it this way. I have chosen this path. So I need to just accept that at the moment there is less bass playing in this career path than I would like, and that will be changing as soon as I can get to it. In the meantime, in order to sort of keep working with the jazz, I had an idea. So Mother Cherry at my church has asked me to play, she keeps asking me to play the guitar. And there's a problem with that sentence. I don't play the guitar. So sometimes I've got Mark in to help me with that, but or sometimes I'll just lead with my voice. I mean, I can play the guitar, but I'd sort of developed this method of strumming a chord and sort of singing while I take my time to get to the next chord and letting it ring out, sort of thing. So, but what I thought I could do, Mother Cherry has given me a hymn that she'd like played, is I thought maybe I'd practice jazz on these hymns because I'm doing them once a month. And had this sort of a funny idea of people sort of singing, all things bright and beautiful, scoobity-bap-bap-boo. No, it's not going to be like that. But somebody mentioned, I can't remember who it was in the comments, said, I'm glad you've talked about triads, the first, the third and the fifth note of is it a chord or a scale? I can't remember. See, the knowledge is fading fast. It worries me. But triads. And I thought, well, actually, what I could do without the congregation particularly knowing, because I'll be leading the main tune with my voice, is I can work out because I was only going to play the chords anyway, maybe I can work out like a walking bass line or something using triads that I can do that won't be too disruptive to the hymn and will help people learn it, but will also enable me to practice what I've learned at jazz school. It's just an idea. Let's see if it works out. But that's what I'm going to try. What else have I got? I have actually got lots of things to tell you. So we got the swing in the pub. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. And I was quietly a little bit worried because I'd been chatting to people about it, and you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That would be, I don't want people to come and be disappointed. So I was concerned. But just for those of you that worry about safety, there's some bolts in the ceiling that are there to hold very, very heavy sound systems. But there's no sound systems up there at the moment. So we've used those and we've put a swing in so that when we do our number, the Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love, Caroline and Liberty in there, sort of Marie Antoinette fashion, can sit on the swing and swing back and forth. So I've got to get that decorated. So I will show you at the end of this a little bit of footage of that. And we'll also spend a little bit of time with Caroline, our creative director, who's done us a short film. Perhaps I'll put this in here actually. So this is Caroline just telling us a little bit more about herself.
Hi, my name's Caroline and I am the creative director at Divine Funk. What that entails is me coming up with fun and fabulous ideas that we can bring to Divine Funk that are within our budget. So as you know, we're newly starting this fabulous adventure, so budget also has to be taken into account. I would probably love to come up with really big bonkers ideas, but at the moment, maybe in the future, but at the moment we do have to be realistic on our budget. So as you know, Debs and I are both psychotherapists, counselling therapists. So when we spoke about this concept, what was really, really important to us both is the concept of play. And we found that, when we become adults, we actually forget how to play. Well, that or life takes over and it becomes a lower priority. So for this, we really, really, really wanted it high up on our list of priorities, that play and playfulness was really up there. So Debs came to me with the Barbie song, Dance the Night Away, and said she really wanted to put Barbie in. And she said she wanted to put lots of the Barbies in. So I went away and I was thinking about how I played with Barbie when I was younger. And I'd often use the box. So the box would be like a car or the box would be a rocket. And so I thought, I wonder if we can really bring that to life. So I got my little brain going and did a little sketch, sent it off to Debs. Debs was like, I love it. And then we sent it to the carpenter, Rick. Hi, Rick. And then Martha done all of the artwork, which is fabulous. And so now throughout that number, we use the Barbie box to transform into a doctor's surgery, it's a vet, it's a aeroplane, and it's a rocket. It is a high risk number, but we thought it's worth the risk, and so far it's actually all gone to plan every time. And there's a million costume changes within that one number, just so that we can bring all the Barbies to that number. And that's my role within Divine Funk. Previously, I was a children's storyteller and performer for over 20 years. So my background is in theatre and the arts. So that's how I bring all of those elements to Divine Funk. I'm really enjoying my time with Divine Funk. We are a fabulous family, and I can't wait to carry on doing new and exciting projects with you all. And I'll see you lot soon.
So this evening I'm going to see the Queen of Bass herself, Suzi Quatro. And that is why I am wearing my denim jumpsuit today in honour of Suzi. Suzi's such a special musician for me because she's the first woman I remember, in fact, when I say first, really the only woman that I ever saw when I was little who was holding a guitar. Now, I know that there were others, but in my household, we didn't see a lot of or anything of Joni Mitchell, and we didn't see anything of Chrissie Hynde from the Pretenders. There just weren't women, or Dolly Parton. There just weren't women that I saw holding guitars. So I remember being quietly fascinated with Suzi Quatro because she was on Top of the Pops and she was also in Happy Days. So those were two things that came into my world through the television. And I just thought she was superb, but I couldn't quite put into words what was superb about her because I was young, and sometimes you just can't quite name what it is that you're seeing, but I just loved her and wanted to be like her in some way. So I'm super excited that she's coming to Southend today. In the meantime, I've got to get going because I've got, as I said to you, I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to get these backing tracks right for our rehearsal on Sunday. I'm trying to get the click to sound clearer, and the vocal cues, which is me in the mic going chorus and verse, you know, so that nobody loses their place when there's a lot going on. There's a lot to do, so I've got to go. I've got to try and crack through it, and I'll see you again on Friday, and hopefully I'll have some footage or something of Suzi Quatro playing. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with the swing. So you enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Coming down.
Wow, we got a swing in the pub. Thank you, Roly.
No problem.
Woo!
Yeah, proper back bit. So you're coming in. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. Yeah, now I'm looking.
Yeah, it's really
Works.
cool. It's fun. Right. I'll get tidying up and then I'll go and show Jamie.